Today it's time to learn about new awesome kaiju from the legends over at Goji Center. I got my freaking Goji Center Monarch sweatshirt on. I'm all cozy and ready. You can acquire this Goji Center sweatshirt as well in their shop. Also, no, they didn't tell me to say that. It's just like, where else can you get a freaking Monarch sweatshirt? This is literally the only place. Also, big shout out to Blade Ninja over at Project KAIJU on Roblox for making this freaking Riot Kong skin. It's the coolest thing I've ever freaking seen.
Today on Goji Center, we're going to quickly review some brand new predators seen in Netflix's Skull Island, reviewing their abilities and what makes them lethal killers. We have a total of 10 predators. We'll be running through these fairly quickly, so pay close attention. Right now, we'll fire up the analysis platform and introduce you guys to number 1, the Trapdoor Crab.
This video is so necessary. There's so many freaking new creatures in that show, and we didn't discuss them really at all.
This animal is one of the largest of the crustaceans on this island.
This scene was so intense, dude.
For its habit of ambushing smaller animals than itself, giving it its name. These varied in size. We don't really have any official figures for most of these animals, but by judging from various clips, these things could possibly grow up to be 5 to 6 feet in height standing in this posture.
Can't lobsters grow forever? Didn't someone tell me that lobsters could literally freaking grow forever? Maybe it's like this, like they grow till they're killed, you know?
So, how dangerous are these? In the show, we witnessed that these animals would be heavily reliant on vibrations that were detected after prey would walk on their territory. Similar to the modern-day trapdoor spider, after another smaller creature would wander about on top of their web,
so
the spider
juicy.
will quickly come out and ensnare its prey. These crabs don't really need to use webs, they can just feel your footsteps. Using their exceptionally large claws, these would grab prey and throw it into its tooth-infested mouth.
Gnarly.
Admittedly, these guys did prove to be a bit unimpressive given that their shells were easily penetrable by spears and struggled to catch anything.
You know what? That's a good point. That was an easily penetrable freaking shell right there.
Potentially explaining why they stayed in large groups. The more crabs scattered along a vast area, the more likely they were to trap something and eat each other's scraps. Next animal. Oh, also, keep in mind that some of the names we are going to use to refer to some of these animals are the ones used in their corresponding concept arts. The creators of this show didn't seem to try too hard naming these animals, giving us names such as Venus flytrap, creature, giant ant, croc monster, NIGHTBOYS, and the next animal in this list, number 2, giant dodo.
I was gonna say, I'll give the names the benefit of the doubt in case it's like from the perspective of survivors just kind of quickly jotting down a description of them to summarize what they look like, but then you lost me with NIGHTBOYS. NIGHTBOYS is the stupidest nickname I've ever heard in my life.
To give a quick explanation of this animal, imagine if someone took a dodo and somehow bred it with a terror bird. Pretty much what this thing is. Upon taking a closer look,
it's got a nice shape to it.
This animal is equipped with long legs that help it run at very high speeds and tipped with claws or talons that, if moving towards a target, could be used to shred through a victim. This animal's sharp beak would have been used as a weapon as well, leveraging the weight of this beak to inflict deep wounds.
I feel like I'd be way more afraid of an actual terror bird.
Once again, a bit underwhelming, given that it served as nothing else but cannon fodder for other predators, easily dispatched by a bite to the neck. That's it. Next animal. Number 3, Venus flytrap creature.
That chick being able to control a giant hound, that was like one of the most strong things on the island. It did bother me a bit. It removed so much freaking danger.
As the name suggests, this plant relies on trapping mechanisms to feed itself. These things vary in size and seem to be as tall as trees, but don't let their pretty appearance fool you. There is not much known about these creatures, but it's possible that, like the trapdoor crab, these could rely on vibrations to indicate that there is a moving organism around. Or these flowers could be tipped with heat-seeking sensors that allow the plant to accurately turn and wrap its mandibles around its target.
What, in the Jumanji?
Won't be easy without a sharp weapon, but even with a sharp tool, this flower has a special adaptation to prevent prey from fighting back. If you look at this clip, you'll see that this flower has vines inside its mouth that wrap around the victim's limbs, immobilizing and preventing said prey from injuring the plant from the inside.
Gnarly.
It will take something very strong to release itself from these vines, let alone manage to pry these jaws open. Knowing this, it's very likely that these plants were the culprits behind many missing animals, and perhaps even people on this island. Number 4, giant ant.
I feel like, unironically, those plants might be the the scariest thing on the island, because everything else is going to kill you necessarily quick, but being dissolved by like acidic nonsense over the course of hours would be absolute agony.
Real quick, we're going to go over the largest ants on planet Earth, Skull Island's giant ants. Now, it's worth mentioning that these guys were actually referred to in the original Kong Skull Island film by Hank Marlowe. Since then, we had absolutely
Sounds like a bird,
no
but it's
clue
a
how big
ant.
they were or what their coloration was. In fact, we here at Goji speculated that these were around this big a couple of years ago. These finally showed up in an official Monsterverse installment, and turns out that they are indeed massive. These ants, however, did not live in extremely large colonies such as their smaller counterparts. They lived in subterranean tunnels swarming the jungles of Skull Island, where unsuspecting animals could fall with no means of escape. Eventually, this ant, along with possible others, would overwhelm their victims using their deadly fangs. The exoskeleton of this animal was actually resistant to sharp objects, unlike the crab. Yes, it's just a giant ant, but if this thing fails to impress, wait till you check out this next animal.
Realistically, the ant should be one of the most dangerous just because, like, they're so strong relative to their size. An ant that big would be able to, like, pick up a T-Rex, you know?
Number
For
5,
sure.
rock bug.
This thing confused
At
me
least
so
some
much.
of the names given to these animals don't leave us wondering too much. This is not your ordinary bug. In fact, it isn't an insect at all since it has a total of 12 legs.
Well,
this
damn it.
animal shares similarities with pill bugs, sometimes known as roly-polies, who are actually more related to shrimp and crayfish. Of course, Skull Island takes the fauna in this island a step further and blends the surrounding environments in the DNA of these animals. In this case, this rock bug organically morphs its corporal attributes with that of geode rocks. That's right, these rocks in the real world are formed inside rocks that have hollow pockets inside them, sometimes formed by the movement of water, gas, or even decomposing organisms. Note that if you ever run across a large geode, this thing took thousands, sometimes millions of years to form.
Dude, I used to freaking love collecting this kind of crap as a kid. You're gonna get me so back into this. You're gonna have me looking up rocks after this video. You can't be doing this to me.
Suggesting that these rock bugs, especially this large one, could potentially be thousands of years old or even more. These must also be extremely strong as well, being able to haul tons of stone, crawling at very high speeds, capturing prey, killing it in an instant with a combination of its sharp claws and tremendous amount of crushing weight. Yeah, we are looking at a potential super predator here, even making use of its mesmerizing display of geode rock to keep its prey engaged on a visual stimulus, allowing it to then come in and simply eat.
That thing moved so
Number
freaking
6,
fast,
Croc
dude.
Monster. Up next is another remarkable killer, first seen dismembering a human in a split second. A crocodile on steroids. That's right, crocodiles in the real world are already pretty OP, boasting what may be the strongest bite force in the animal kingdom today. Now, scaling this up to this fella, we are looking at some serious damage. This animal would have stood at heights of around 20 feet standing in this posture, but it does not end here. Here on Goji, we like to call this animal Giga Croc, given its muscular upper body appearance,
Nice.
capability
Well done
to
right
run
there.
at high
I like
speeds
that.
on land, water, and also very capable to fight using its very strong forelimbs.
I considered this guy personally like a crocodile gorilla, and it's freaking crazy.
Yeah, this thing is so strong, so swole, so fast, so smart, so epic, so delicious.
Yeah.
Sorry guys, as cool as this thing was, there wasn't anything on this island that would be safe from getting eaten. To its merit, however, we did find clues that suggest that this creature is actually kind of smart. For instance, it was implied that this guy would not swim after these boys because they were heading straight for the edge of the waterfall. But after witnessing that these fragile life forms survived this fall, the croc figures that its more robust build would also survive this impact, even a belly flop. Besides getting eaten by immense life forms, Giga Croc here proved to be one of the most epic predators seen in the Monsterverse's rendition of Skull Island.
Realistically, this thing would be at like the top of the food chain in Jurassic Park. It's an absolute monster. I don't think, except for Kong and that Kraken, nothing could have killed it. Maybe a
7,
crawler, a big one.
NIGHTBOYS. No, these aren't your typical teenage boys looking for trouble at 2 a.m. in the morning. Or are they? Perhaps the rarest set of creatures on this list. The NIGHTBOYS are a placeholder placeholder name for these animals that use camouflage to blend in with trees, attaching themselves to one another possibly to conserve warmth. Sticking with one another in this form not only gives them safety in numbers, but also able to bring down larger prey by hunting in packs. The way these animals move around concludes that they are facultative quadrupeds, capable of walking on their hind legs or all four. These are tipped with claws that could shred through thinner hides, and they also wield an eccentric set of mandibles that enable them to open their mouth wider and pierce deep with their fangs.
I feel like these are like the most unrealistic creatures on Skull Island, like the least likely to exist, you know?
In this show, it was also evident that they were a bit fragile, given that these could be repelled by frail burning sticks and held back by someone in chains, further explaining that they are in fact dependent on staying in large numbers to swarm other creatures. Number 8, Killer Chameleon. Ooh. When you hear the word chameleon, you would probably immediately think of those small color-changing lizards that point their eyes in different directions.
I freaking love chameleons,
this
dude.
word does not do these creatures justice. At first glance, these guys don't really look that big, but in reality, they are portrayed as gargantuan beasts. Yep, even rivaling the size of Ramarak, the big one from Kong Skull Island. Skull Island's killer chameleon stays true to the base camouflage attributes of its smaller relative, capable of changing colors matching its surrounding territory in a matter of seconds. But unlike real-life chameleons, these guys possess an array of very large, pointy teeth mounted on powerful jaws, allowing them to pierce through thick, hairy hides and dense musculature, as seen here.
Hairy?
But that's not all. Similar to real-life chameleons, these possess a tongue that can be accurately shot forward, sticking to any target, bringing it close to its mouth. Because these animals are so large, it's possible that this tongue could extend hundreds of feet in a matter of seconds. Additionally, it is seen that these things are incredibly resistant to many sorts of trauma, repeated heavy impacts between titan and stone, and even being able to stay alive during impalement. In the show, these guys also socialized with each other, living and hunting in packs to increase the chances of success when hunting prey. If that wasn't enough, these things are pretty smart as well. Reptiles are usually portrayed as creatures that tend to be outsmarted by mammals. Not these guys. It's rare when we see Kong get outsmarted, but this one managed to do so by heading towards Kong's friend, making Kong distracted and vulnerable to an attack from behind. Because of this, these smart reptiles will rank high amongst the most dangerous land predators of this island. The next creature on our list is an animal whose name strikes fear in the hearts of any lesser creature inhabiting Skull Island.
Dude, I'm a big fan of those chameleons. I don't think they get enough credit. They may be able to kill a skull crawler. Actually, probably definitely could. That's wild.
The name, get ready for this, Dog.
Oh my god.
Number 9 on our list is a canine whose strength is unrivaled by most other creatures of similar size. Imagine the strength of a pit bull blended with that of a lion on steroids. A dense, muscular body equipped with 4 limbs tipped with sharp claws capable of clawing into rock itself.
I guess they needed the dog. It was a lot of plot armor, but the whole concept of Skull Island is something that no one can survive, so if they did survive without the dog, it would have been stupid.
Dog wasn't necessarily domesticated as some may think. This is a wild animal, and these, along with other super predators, should be treated with respect and left in the wild. However, bonds between humans and said super predators are seen many times, and this bond is no different. The bond started between these two individuals since they were of very young age, depending on each other in some way or form in order to survive. Additionally, this guy was very smart, capable of understanding commands, capable of discerning feelings by looking at human expressions, and showing complex signs of situational awareness, making this creature an ideal companion to have in an island like this. But perhaps the most interesting fact about Dog is that this guy wasn't necessarily native to Skull Island. That's
What?
right. In
Where's
the
it
show,
from?
it is also implied that there are other surrounding smaller islands that hold different life forms as well.
That's true. I
This
forgot
is new
about
for
that.
the Monsterverse.
Wait a second. That's so true. Why didn't I think of that? They did discuss other islands. Holy hell.
And time will reveal what other horrible creatures thrive on these islands.
Oh man, it will.
Number 10, Giant Hawk. If you've been
I also have a giant hawk.
following the Monsterverse for a while now, you might be acquainted with the concept known as symbiosis, which simply is a mutually beneficial relationship between two different species.
I feel like the fan base needs to get that. Godzilla and Mothra are symbiotic, damn it, okay? Like, there's certain spiders birds will allow near their nests because they'll eat other creatures that mess with their eggs, stuff like that. Like, they're not having love time, damn it.
The most popular symbiotic relationship is that of Godzilla and Mothra, but this show introduced us to a new duo, the giant hawk and Kong. In this show, this bird of massive proportions was seen hunting food, swooping down from the sky, capturing smaller creatures, and feeding them to Kong himself. In the real world, birds of prey are regarded as some of the smartest creatures in the animal kingdom, with high levels of discernment and senses that allow them to process all sorts of information. Giant Hawk here takes it a step further and found that being Kong's companion would place it further up in this island's food chain as well. All of Kong's friends were his friends as well. This was seen when Hawk came in clutch and saved this woman from falling from this high precipice, as well as looking out for their well-being. It's unknown where this hawk came from, but it's likely that after the events of Kong Skull Island, this giant bird made its way through the Hollow Earth tunnels up to the surface. But this brings another question. Where is this hawk now?
Sorry about that, I dropped my camera.
Where is this hawk now? What happened to it?
Where is this hawk now?
A mystery, perhaps answered in a following season of the Skull Island show, or even a GXK comic prequel. We hope you enjoyed this video.
I'm freaking guessing a skullcrawler ate it, and that's why Kong is so pissed. The skullcrawlers even ate his freaking pets, dude. That's exactly what happened to that bird, for sure.
If you did, please take a moment to hit that subscribe button. It's easy. Just press that button right there. If you don't, Kong will sit on your house.
No! This video was freaking awesome as usual. They always are. Thank you, Goshi Center, for being so freaking awesome. And thank you for my Monarch sweatshirt. That's right. I mentioned it 3 times in one video. But yeah, leave a like, subscribe for more. Check out Goshi Center, link down below, and I'll see you next time.